What's up, you guys? It's Levi here. We got another month and we got another wave of ransomware to talk about. Today we're going to be talking about the top ransomware of July 2020. This one involves a very well-known giant organization known as Garmin. For those of you that don't know who Garmin is, it is a manufacturer of GPS devices and has a fitness smartwatch that's a competitor to the Apple Watch and the Fitbit and my Samsung Active smartwatch. With smartphones out there, their GPS devices aren't as useful for the average person like you, but they're actually highly useful for airline pilots because they're heavily dependent on these types of devices to be able to chart out their flights. Does anyone remember back in the day when you had to get a Garmin device or a little box-like thing that you see here to be able to type in an address and see where you're going? Yeah, it sounds crazy, right? But it was super cool because back then that was the only way that you could get automated instructions. You didn't have smartphones back then. If you didn't have this device, you had to go back and look on your map to see where you're gonna go. So these things were super beneficial back in the day. The only bad side about these devices is you had to pay a subscription to update these devices. If you didn't, you sometimes would get routed in stupid directions, or you get routed to a road that didn't exist anymore, or you didn't see a new road that existed. For instance, I had a situation one time where there was a bridge that was built a little ways over from an old bridge, and that old bridge had gotten taken out. And the GPS told me to go to the old bridge. Well, I had to drive on the new bridge over here, and I ended up driving across water on the GPS. So I guess I did prove you can drive or walk across water. Anyway, if you remember these devices, smash that like button because I am super interested to see if there's anyone else besides me that remembers and loved these devices when they came out. I know I'm kind of old school here, so hopefully I'm not the only one. Anyway, so today I'm going to be talking about what happened in this situation, and most importantly, I'm going to be teaching you guys what you guys can learn from this situation. My main goal for these ransomware videos I put out on a monthly basis is to increase the awareness of how prevalent ransomware is, and everyone should be taking it seriously. I also want you guys to take what you have learned from these situations and be able to go back and apply this knowledge and be able to better protect yourselves and your organizations. Alright, so what happened in this situation? On July 23rd, 2020, Garmin was slammed with a ransomware attack. Just like you guys should be slamming that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Alright, so they suffered a worldwide outage where customers could not access their connected services. Impacted services were Garmin Connect, Fly Garmin, Strava, and their InReach services.
Oh no! People can't sync their fitness watches to the cloud. How will people brag about how hard they exercised?
Pilots were also impacted because they cannot flight plan without access to that cloud Garmin network. The pilots need to be able to download the updates to the databases for their Garmin pilot devices. If they cannot get those updates, they cannot legally fly according to the Federal Aviation Administration. Because the FAA requires those databases to be updated in order to be able to fly. Pilots can use the other tablet apps as backups, but those that are only using that Garmin pilot applications are crap out of luck. Also, Garmin's corporate email services and their call centers were out of service because of this ransomware attack. To me, I don't really see that as that big of a deal, because if you're fighting off a ransomware attack, the last thing you want to be doing is answering phone calls and emails. So actually, it was probably a good thing for Garmin that these things were down, because then they didn't have to hear their customers complain about the stuff being down, right? So yeah, talk about a huge mess. Alright, so 4 days later, Garmin services started to come back, and Garmin tweeted out the following: "We are happy to report that many of the systems and services impacted by the recent outage, including Garmin Connect, are returning to operation. Some features have still temporary limitations while all the data is being processed. We would like to thank all of our customers for your patience and understanding. For more information, go visit garmin.com/outage." Alright, then a few days later after that, Bleeping Computer reported on August 1st that they had proof that Garmin paid the ransom, which is predicted to be $10 million. Insane, right? It's projected that the company paid the ransom on July 24th or 25th, 1 to 2 days after the attack had started. As of the recording of this video on August 5th, 2020, it appears that everything is back up and running. Alright, so what can be learned from this situation, and what are my thoughts on this situation? Well, the first thing is, Garmin paid the ransom. Come on, Garmin. You know, for those of you guys that have watched my videos before, I praise.
Do not pay the ransom.
You are encouraging the hackers, or what I like to call the pirates, to keep putting out this ransomware crap out there and ruining all of these organizations and making them spend millions of dollars to recover their data and affecting millions of innocent people. You take that money away from paying that ransomware, you're going to take the incentive for the pirates to put out more ransomware. So stop paying the ransom. How can you avoid paying the ransom? Well, the first thing is you have to have good backups. That is the best protection against ransomware. Watch my 3-2-1 backups video that I'll put down in the description. What every person and organization should be trying to achieve to back up their stuff. Unfortunately, I cannot find any information on how the ransomware got into Garmin's network, but in the majority of the high-profile ransomware cases that I talk about on this channel, ransomware generally gets through one of two ways. The first one being that an employee falls for a phishing email, they click on that link, they click on an attachment, whatnot, and then boom, the ransomware gets in the network and does whatever the F it wants to the network. So it is critical that organizations and people like you in those organizations are thinking before they're clicking. And it's critical that on an individual level, you are taking the effort to constantly get training on phishing so that you do not fall for this phishing crap. Luckily, each and every single month, I come out with a new video that talks about the top 3 phishing videos from that month. I show you guys what those look like, and I show you guys how to avoid falling for those phishing emails. So make sure, if you haven't already, that you're hitting the subscribe button and hitting that notification bell so you guys can be alerted on those. You should watch those each and every single month so that you can keep your mind refreshed on the latest phishing emails. And then on an organizational level, businesses should be hiring organizations to do their security training, and they should be doing simulated phishing attacks. KnowBe4 is a very, very good one. I'll post a link down below in the description if you're an organization that's looking for something like that. Phishing training is extremely important. It's one of the top ways that organizations get hit with ransomware. ransomware. So make sure you're training your employees on phishing. And if you're an individual watching this video, that you are watching content so that you guys can pick up on the latest phishing trends. All right, finally, the second thing that organizations should be doing is updating their devices and their applications and their software. And they need to be updating this stuff as soon as possible, as soon as those updates are released. Because there's a lot of organizations out there that do not update their stuff right away. And guess what? They have ransomware get into their network because they didn't update that stuff. And a lot of that stuff, the updates were out there for months and months beforehand. And the vendors that made those products warned the organizations, you need to update because this can happen. But unfortunately, some organizations and some people don't update their devices and they get slammed with ransomware because they didn't update their devices. A perfect example is some VPNs. And, you know, with the whole Rona situation, a lot of people are relying on VPNs or virtual private networks to connect their home workers with the office. Well, the devices that actually do the connecting from the office to the home users had vulnerabilities on them that had updates. The vendors for those business VPN devices said they need to be updated immediately, because if you don't update, you can have something bad happen to your network, such as ransomware. Well, guess what? The organizations didn't listen, and a ton of organizations got slammed with ransomware a few months later because they didn't update their devices. So make sure, as a person and an organization, you're updating your devices as soon as possible and all of your software and applications as soon as possible. All right, so in closing, backups, not falling for phishing emails, and having good update practices will save your buns from ransomware. So make sure you are doing all of those as a person, and if you're affiliated with an organization, doing that in your organization. All right, one final reminder is ransomware can happen to anyone connected to the internet. It can happen to you and your organization. It doesn't matter if your organization just has one person or if you have thousands or millions of employees. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can be in Siberia or you can be in New York City. And it doesn't matter what type of organization you are. Ransomware can hit any industry. Ransomware does not care if you have a connection to the internet. You can get hit with ransomware, so you need to be taking this seriously and taking the actions that I talk about to help protect yourself. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video super helpful. If you do, make sure that you're sharing this with everyone that you know, and make sure you're smashing that like button, hitting the subscribe button, and hitting that notification bell. All of these actions help promote this content out there to more people on YouTube. I put a lot of time on these videos that I do not get paid for, so by taking those actions, you can help me grow this channel so that I can reach my ultimate goal of reaching as many people as I can to help protect themselves from the cybersecurity threats that are out there, and let you guys win and have the pirates lose so they can go crawl in a hole and have a terrible life and maybe, just maybe, get a real job. All right, I thank you for watching, guys. Have a fantastic day.